waking up and it's time to change out my big head sail with a working jib. I think I'm finally out of the current that's been pushing me north and east, and the winds are also finally starting to change. So the sun is also getting ready to set in half an hour. So I'm going to reef down to make my ride a little more comfortable, putting a rail in the water, taking on more water in my aft bilge than I want to. It's a pretty shallow bilge, so I just scoop it out by hand, but the harder I'm riding into the waves, the more water comes in. It's also a good indication of when to change your head sail. So anyway, gonna harness up and then go up front, take down the big heady, come back, and then put up this little working guy right here. I hate doing this because it's always when there's a little bit too much wind, and I never want to go forward because there's spray and it's nasty and the sail flaps all over the place. But this is a choice I made to have ink on. This is part 4 of the series where I document my solo sail on my 27-foot sloop from Panama to French Polynesia. If you haven't seen parts 1 through 3, recommended to go watch those first and then watch this one. Or if you're bold and adventurous and don't follow no rules, go ahead and watch this one first without context, because I'm sure it's also enjoyable that way. So anyway, enjoy part 4, and I will see you guys throughout the rest of this video, because I'm sailing by myself and the only person you have to look at. Sorry. It's another gray day out here. Hard to tell through the camera, but pretty windy. My boat's heeled way over, and I definitely don't need to be putting this much strain on the rig. I think I'll go equally as fast with a smaller sail, one of those cases. It was better earlier. I was able to pinch up a little bit and I could spill wind from the sail, which was good when I was trying to make south. And I have the right wind direction, so buckle up, kids. So the new exciting thing is that the snap shackle that was on the bow of the boat that attaches the tack of the head sail to the front of the boat, actually I was able to straighten that one out by accident, so I replaced it with a screw pin shackle. So I'm bringing some tools with me in case it's just a screw pin shackle, but in case the pin is stuck up there. I'm ready, so I can take the sail off and put the new one on, because I hate getting up forward and realizing I need something more. The halyard for my head sail is led aft, so what I like to do first is pull the sheet in all the way, then I try to pinch up as much as possible and loose the halyard from the back of the boat. When there's a lot of wind, the sail doesn't fall down, which is nice, because then I have time to run forward and pull it down so it's on the boat and not in the water. Once I get it all the way down, I skirt around to the back of the sail, untie the jib sheets, and then start to flake it on the deck. Since I do have my dinghy on the foredeck, there actually isn't a ton of room to fold the sail, and since my wind vane isn't able to hold me dead into the wind likes to push the flakes aside, so I usually flake and kind of fold it as I go, which doesn't make for the prettiest roll, but I always redo the sail once I get into the harbor. I've been making so many head sail changes on this trip so far, like 3 or 4 a day, that I'm not really worried about not the most beautiful flake being put into the sail. Once it's all rolled up, I take the hanks off of the forestay. It's nice to leave them on because I have something to pull the sail against and it helps keep it organized. Then I wrap a sail tie around it to try to keep it all together, bring it back to the cockpit, and then basically do in reverse with a smaller sail what I did with the big guy. I've been timing myself, and I can do a full head sail change in about 15 minutes without hurrying, because it's important to never hurry when you're at sea, because there's no rush. The most important thing is that you stay on your boat and you don't get injured. Now I take Earhart out of the bag. Glad I had my wrench with me because the pin was in fact stuck. So I just went forward and put the smaller working jib onto the forestay, and now it's time to haul it up. I've learned that I actually don't have to be pointing exactly head to wind to get the sail up, especially when it's the smaller one. I can kind of get away with hoisting it up when I'm just a little bit off the wind, which is a lot easier because I don't have to worry about holding a straight course with my foot on the tiller while I'm also raising the sail. I can kind of let the wind vane pinch up and do its thing while I just focus on the sail and getting the sail up. This working jib that I have is a used one. When I was in the States, I did some work at a marine salvage shop helping them inventory sails, and in exchange they let me pick sails, so my storm jib and my working jib are from there. As you can see, this one has an external luff line on the lower half of it. I'm not really sure why, but I'm guessing it came off a boat with an inner, like a cutter rig with an inner forestay, because on the clew of the sail there's a little slider, so I'm guessing it sat on its own boom. But anyway, it works for my boat. It's a little funny looking, but so am I, so we're in good company. So now my new sail is up, the boat is happy. Next step is to adjust the wind vane, since it's a different balance of the boat, since I have a different sail up. And then I just have to the halyards, clean up the deck lines, stow pro below, and then I'm good. About 12 minutes, which I think is pretty good for me. It's surprising how long it can take. So now I'm gonna play around with the wind vane. I might also put on the smaller wind vane paddle, since the wind is a little bit too much for the bigger one, and sometimes it blows out of its brackets, which is probably not good for it. Okay, changing out the wind vane paddles. I have two different sized ones. The one that I have in right now is really big, and it's really awesome for light winds when you're going upwind. And anytime you're going downwind, it's really great to have because it's a lot more sensitive and it doesn't drive you as much by accident. First thing to do when you're changing to any paddle, this case the smaller one, I like to cleat my harness line off on the cleat so that it actually prevents me from falling overboard in the first place. Then I take the paddle off. I have a little safety line on it that has saved it a couple times from falling in the water. Untie that, and currently both paddles are sharing the same safety line because I don't know what happened to the other one. Once you take the paddle off, the wind vane isn't actually steering anymore, which is fine because my boat steers itself if it's balanced on anything from close hauled to beam reach. So right now everything is cool. When I'm going downwind, it's a little bit scarier to change the paddles out because the boat starts to round up a lot, and that can be not so fun sometimes. So anyway, this wind vane paddle is a lot smaller and a lot better for strong winds. So first thing I do when I go back is retie the safety line on in case it somehow slips out of my fingers and falls overboard. Then set it up in its little brackets, attach it in, and you're good to go. For the sun to be setting, and I'm gonna slip into some of my little naps for the night probably. Once it gets dark, I get sleepy unless it's a beautiful night, and then I like to stay up and look at the moon. But when it's passes more quickly if I'm napping. There's no reason to sit out in the cockpit in this bullshit. Especially now that I have my smaller head sail up and the boat seems pretty happy. Even if there's a gust, I don't have to worry so much. Still got a nice lean going on, as you can tell. Maybe this is up for me, so maybe this is the best way to tell how much of a lean there is. Boat's still bashing around a bunch. It definitely feels smoother. It's less slam into the waves and a little bit more slalom over the waves. I'm still getting the occasional wave crashing over the deck, but overall I'd say I guess the motion is less violent. It's starting to get dark. I am so happy, and I'm afraid to be happy because this has been the really challenging for me. This is the first time since I left that I've actually had my bow pointing almost in the direction that I want to go, and for the rest of the time I've been fighting current and wind and waves, and I had to tack to go northwest to try to go southwest to get out of this icky current. So finally looked at my iPad this afternoon, which I've started being afraid to even look at it. So yeah, even though I'm smashing into waves under working jib now, I'm still incredibly happy. Sitting up is difficult, so I've spent most of the day just kind of lying down, reading books. It's been a ride. I'm ready for some going in the right direction at a speed faster than 3 knots. The current, my god, earlier today I was like, I should have been going at least 5 knots, but I was going like 2.8 to 3.2 knots because of current against me. I had full sail up and almost a rail in the water and just, you know, running into the waves and not going anywhere. It's been a little bit tough, but now, wow, it's blowing out there. Now I'm pleased that things are going better, and I'm gonna poke my head out again because it might be a reef in the main night too. I think the wind is still picking up, which is happy news for me because it means speed. But it could mean a night of a lot of sail changes too. So we'll see. Picking up out here. Storm clouds on the horizon and all around me. I'm about to sail through. I mean, it's been squally, but as the general wind increases, then the squalls become more of a worry, because if you're in 10 knots of wind, a squall can mean 20 or 15, and that's not a big deal. But if you're in 20 knots of wind, a squall can get up to 30, which is a big deal. So I'm just keeping a little bit of an eye. It might be a slightly less sleep night, but I'm so happy that I changed out the headsail when I did. Such a relief. It's always a question when I do it because it's annoying, and I want to be lazy, but I'm so much happier when it's done because it severely reduces the sail that I have up right now, which is really good. Thank you guys for watching this video. I put up new videos every 2 weeks on Mondays, so be sure to catch the next one, and if you haven't seen the previous ones, they're also worth seeing, I think, if you want to see more background on when I left Panama and the sorts of things that were cropping up as I was doing this trip. Currently coming to you guys from Nukuhiva in French Polynesia, where I did eventually make it despite headwinds and lots of challenges. The first part of the trip was definitely one of the hardest amounts of sailing I've ever done. It was upwind all the way to the Galapagos, which ended up taking 2 weeks and about 1,000 miles. But now I'm here and it's gorgeous, as you can see, so it was totally worth it. Thank you, Tish, for putting these videos onto YouTube for me. So in French Polynesia, there's actually such very not great cell and Wi-Fi that I have created these videos here, put them on a micro SD card, put it in the post, mailed it to the States to my sister Tish, and she is putting it onto the internet for me from the US. So it's kind of fun. I'm sitting in Daniels Bay right now, which is this beautiful bay with a ton of awesome hiking, and putting all these videos together so that I can sail around the corner to a place where there's civilization and post them off hopefully in the next couple days of Holly time, which is nothing to do with YouTube time because it's all delayed. So I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. If you want to follow me along more closely, I do post on Instagram whenever I'm able to get connected to Wi-Fi or cell. My Instagram is @BoatLizard, and if you go on there, you can see pictures from my passage, pictures of French Polynesia and some of the hikes that I've done, and sunrises and beautiful mountains, and some of the lovely times that I'm having here. Thank you so much to all of my patrons who are helping me make this trip possible. Definitely would have had to stop and work illegally somewhere for under the table cash if you guys hadn't been helping me out. If you're interested in becoming a patron, my Patreon is patreon.com/windhippie. That would be cool. Thank you. And if not, that's also cool. I still love you guys. All of you. I love all of your comments. I am super disconnected from the world right now. The bay I'm in has no cell, no Wi-Fi, nothing, and a lot of the places are like that, so I do try to get back to you guys as soon as I can, but sometimes I think I'm not as good as I would be in a better connected place. So stick with me. I'm trying my best. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for another video about my trip in 2 more weeks. Alright, see you guys.